looking opening, but Singleton brings it away for Bradford. There's only Ellis with him at the moment, though, and he's played it straight to Redford.
Over 27
Look at him, though.
years.
He look mad. You don't look happy, brother. You don't look happy.
Television is meant to entertain, but across the decades, it has also unleashed heartbreak, horror, and moments so disturbing they still echo today. Prepare for 15 stories that reveal just how dark TV can get. Late-night talk shows generally serve easy laughter, not dangerous chaos. But in 1994, comedian Bobcat Goldthwait shattered that norm on The Tonight Show. Known for his twitchy manner and offbeat jokes, Bobcat initially bantered playfully with host Jay Leno. He teased how he once destroyed TV sets for shock value, and the crowd tittered, expecting silly mischief. Suddenly, Bobcat took things far beyond mischievous. With zero warning, he poured lighter fluid on his guest chair and ignited it. Flames shot skyward, shocking the entire studio. Jay and fellow guest Lauren Hutton sprang to douse the blaze with water, while the audience gasped in disbelief. The onstage energy pivoted from comedic to alarmed in seconds. Though the fire was extinguished almost immediately, the fallout wasn't so easily contained. NBC banned Bobcat indefinitely, and local authorities charged him with arson. He later filmed public service announcements about fire safety as part of his punishment. On May 11th, 1985, thousands of soccer fans gathered at Bradford City's Valley Parade Stadium in England, brimming with excitement for a celebratory match. The old wooden stands, though beloved, were notoriously outdated, riddled with discarded trash beneath the seating. As spectators cheered, a single, carelessly flicked cigarette under the stand ignited a small flame. In mere moments, that flicker ballooned into a ravenous fire. Strong winds fanned the flames, and the dry refuse provided perfect fuel. Within 2 minutes, black smoke billowed overhead, and the entire stand was ablaze. Panic erupted. People scrambled toward narrow exits, often blocked or jammed with frightened crowds. Thick smoke and intense heat left many disoriented. By the time firefighters arrived, the blaze had raced far beyond control. 56 lives were lost, and over 200 were injured, turning what should have been a joyful day into a national tragedy. Investigations later revealed that stadium officials were aware of fire risks from accumulated garbage, but hadn't acted on warnings. Halloween night, 1992. Millions of BBC viewers tuned into Ghostwatch, a broadcast promoted as a live paranormal investigation. The program starred the trusted Michael Parkinson and a team exploring reports of a malevolent spirit dubbed Pipes haunting a London home. Initially, it looked like harmless Halloween mischief, until the events grew alarmingly intense. Shadows flickered, eerie noises rattled walls, and a child seemed seized by an otherworldly voice. Viewers called in, some claiming they saw apparitions on their screens. The tension climbed, then suddenly spilled into the BBC studio. Lights flickered, wind howled, and Parkinson appeared hypnotized, reciting a nursery rhyme as if possessed. The feed cut to black, leaving the public stunned. Only later did the truth emerge. Ghostwatch was pre-recorded, its terrifying scenes scripted. A quick on-screen disclaimer had gone unnoticed by many. Thousands, convinced it was all genuine, felt betrayed. Hospitals reported individuals suffering panic attacks and trauma, and parents said their children were left with nightmares for weeks. Chilean viewers of K7 Panama expected light-hearted entertainment and spirited competitions. The show tested everyday people's strength and agility, hosted by the charismatic Gian Felipe. But in 2011, a typical broadcast turned tragic when Felipe interrupted the show to relay chilling breaking news. He explained that a Chilean Air Force plane carrying 21 people had vanished near Juan Fernandez Island. Among those on board was cherished TV host Felipe Camiroaga, a figure widely admired for his humanitarian efforts. The silence in the studio was palpable. As the audience realized the gravity of the situation, shock replaced excitement. Search parties were quickly deployed, but when wreckage emerged, hope evaporated. There were no survivors. K7 Panama instantly changed from a carefree spectacle to a conduit for collective grief. Viewers who had been cheering moments earlier now absorbed devastating updates in real time. The tragedy underlined how abruptly reality can intrude on televised escapism. Even hours of rehearsed fun can't shield a studio from the sorrow of national heartbreak. In 2008, a Japanese variety show took its contestants to a tranquil rice field for a cheeky outdoor contest. Two participants balanced on a small wooden platform in shallow water, attempting to knock each other off. The segment was typical of Japanese TV, playful, silly, and aimed at a good laugh. As host Tetsubishi Yanaga finished announcing the round, onlookers urged him to try. He hesitated, but eventually hopped onto the slippery platform. The water below was only a few inches deep, yet Tetsubishi attempted a forward dive when he lost his balance. He landed headfirst into the dense mud, snapping vertebrae in his neck. At first, nobody realized the seriousness of his injury. Crew members assumed he was clowning around and continued piling mud on him. Tetsubishi, panicked and face down, could neither move nor call for help. Only when he failed to resurface did people rush to his aid. Though he survived, he was permanently paralyzed from the neck down, leaving behind haunting footage of a light-hearted game gone horribly wrong. One of television's most haunting moments occurred on July 15, 1974, during a live news broadcast in Sarasota, Florida. Christine Chubbuck, a 29-year-old news anchor, had been struggling with depression, though her viewers and even her co-workers had little clue of its depth. That morning, Christine delivered several standard local news stories before pausing mid-report. She calmly announced, "In keeping with Channel 40's policy of bringing you the latest in blood and guts, you're going to see another first, an attempted suicide." She then produced a revolver from beneath her desk and shot herself behind the right ear. The cameras, still rolling, captured a scene of unimaginable shock. Christine was rushed to a hospital but died hours later, leaving behind a grieving station staff and a stunned audience. The morning of January 22, 1987, marked one of America's most disturbing live TV moments. R. Bud Dwyer, Pennsylvania's state treasurer, faced sentencing for bribery charges he claimed were unfounded. Resolute in his innocence, he called a press conference to address the allegations. Reporters gathered, expecting a statement or resignation. Instead, they witnessed a horrifying farewell. Dwyer read a prepared speech, declaring his ongoing plea of innocence, then drew a .357 Magnum from a manila envelope. The room erupted in pleas for him to stop, but Dwyer ignored them. While some TV stations cut away, others broadcast live as he ended his life on camera. Wetten Das reigned as a European TV staple, blending comedic flair with daredevil challenges. Millions tuned in from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland to watch everyday people tackle outrageous feats. In December 2010, The show introduced 23-year-old Samuel Koch, who aimed to leap over moving cars while wearing spring-loaded boots, also known as kangaroo shoes. The initial jumps went well, and the audience cheered his bravery. But on his fourth attempt, driven by none other than his father, Samuel launched too low and collided with the windshield. He landed on the stage with devastating force, left paralyzed from the neck down. Gasps and horrified silence filled the studio. The host immediately halted the broadcast, and Europe sat stunned. Though Samuel survived, he faced a lifetime of rehabilitation. Guilt weighed heavily on his family, and the show's once glittering reputation dimmed. The host eventually resigned, wrestling with remorse. Over time, Samuel found new purpose, starring in films and sharing an inspiring message of perseverance. In January 2020, Timothy Bleefnick and his wife Rebecca appeared together, joking with the host. But their banter included a chilling remark when asked about wedding regrets. Timothy replied, saying, "I do," prompting awkward laughter. No one imagined how darkly prophetic that comment would become. By 2023, the couple's relationship had deteriorated, with Rebecca filing for a restraining order. Soon after, tragedy struck. She was found fatally shot in her own home, multiple bullet wounds pointing to a brutal attack. Police arrested Timothy, and investigators uncovered a harrowing tale of domestic turmoil culminating in murder. Spectators who remembered the couple's game show appearance were stunned to see how a light-hearted quip had turned into an ominous footnote. Reality courtroom shows often deliver larger-than-life disputes mixed with comedic moments. Christina's Court followed that formula, presided over by the affable judge Christina Perez. Beside her stood bailiff Renard Spivey, quietly upholding order while litigants argued. Occasionally, the judge teased him about his marriage, prompting good-natured laughs. Yet years later, Renard made headlines for reasons far darker. In 2019, he was arrested after a heated confrontation with his wife Patricia ended in gunfire. Authorities found Patricia dead with multiple injuries, while Renard himself had a gunshot wound to his leg. He claimed it was accidental, but the details were murky. The trial featured conflicting stories and tearful testimonies. Ultimately, he was found not guilty of intentional homicide, but the damage to his reputation was irreversible. For fans of Christina's Court, the news was deeply jarring. The calm, steady bailiff they had come to know was entangled in a tragic real-life drama. For decades, 60 Minutes has blended investigative journalism with human stories that stir hearts. One such story focused on Donald Herbert, a Buffalo firefighter who suffered life-altering injuries on December 28, 1995. While battling a house fire, the building's roof collapsed, trapping him in flames. Rescuers saved his life, but oxygen deprivation and severe trauma left him blind, unable to speak, and in a minimally conscious state. His family never lost faith, visiting him regularly, though doctors warned that meaningful recovery was unlikely. Then, a medical tweak sparked an astonishing event. After nearly a decade, Donald suddenly spoke. His first request: to see his wife. For the next 14 hours, he conversed with relatives, asking about lost time and changes in the world. The 60 Minutes team captured the emotional reunion that felt like a miracle. Sadly, Donald's fragile condition meant this awakening was fleeting. He passed away a year later from pneumonia complications. Still, his brief return offered an enduring testament to resilience and hope. In 1972, To Tell the Truth hosted a charming man named Edward Wayne Edwards, introduced as a reformed criminal with a newly upright life. The audience and panelists were intrigued by his confession of past robberies and escapes, but he insisted he was now redeemed, eager to guide others away from crime. Behind that polished facade lay a far darker reality. Edwards disappeared into anonymity after his appearance, only to resurface decades later as a suspected serial killer. Sparked by his daughter's suspicions, authorities connected him to multiple unsolved murders, including a couple in 1977 and his own foster son in 1996. He eventually confessed to 5 killings, with some investigators speculating his total number of victims could be much higher. Edwards had effectively weaponized television's trust, painting himself as a changed man before millions of viewers. Once revelations of his crimes came to light, the public was horrified by how successfully he had manipulated everyone. His story stands as a chilling reminder that the camera can distort truth. January 28, 1986, began with hopeful anticipation as the Space Shuttle Challenger launched from Cape Canaveral. Countless viewers, adults and schoolchildren alike, watched the live broadcast, eager to witness teacher Krista McAuliffe's journey into space. Yet, a mere 73 seconds after liftoff, an unexpected plume of smoke blossomed. Instantly, the shuttle erupted in a catastrophic fireball. As cameras rolled, announcers struggled to grasp what they were seeing. Television sets nationwide showed stunned faces in classrooms and living rooms, where children, teachers, and families stared in disbelief. The broadcast went from celebrating exploration to conveying tragedy. All 7 crew members perished, leaving NASA and the nation in profound mourning. Investigations revealed a faulty O-ring in the shuttle's booster rocket caused the explosion, sparking heated debates about safety protocols and deadlines within NASA's space program. Media coverage replayed the dramatic explosion repeatedly, etching the horrific moment into public memory. Though many tried to shield children from the graphic news, the stark footage left a lasting emotional scar. On August 26, 2015, viewers of Roanoke, Virginia's WDBJ-7 morning show, expected cheerful community updates. Reporter Allison Parker and cameraman Adam Ward interviewed a local Chamber of Commerce representative, broadcasting live from a scenic location. Suddenly, gunshots ripped through the air on camera. The live feed cut back to the studio in confusion. In those moments, the unthinkable occurred. A disgruntled former colleague had ambushed the 2 journalists, fatally shooting both Allison and Adam. Their guest was also critically injured, but survived. Meanwhile, unsuspecting audiences who had witnessed the horror scrambled to understand what had happened, as station anchors gasped in disbelief. The shooter fled the scene, later posting his own recorded video of the attack online. Law enforcement tracked him down, but he took his own life before being apprehended. World Wrestling Federation, now WWE events, often blend spectacle and athleticism, pushing performers to thrilling extremes. On May 23, 1999, wrestler Owen Hart, performing as the masked Blue Blazer, attempted a grand entrance from the rafters of Kansas City's Kemper Arena. Suspended by a harness, he was to be lowered dramatically into the ring. But something went horribly wrong. While millions watched the Live Over the Edge pay-per-view, a sudden fall brought Owen crashing into the ring from over 70 feet. Shock rippled through the crowd. Emergency responders rushed in, and TV cameras hurriedly cut to a wide shot, uncertain how to handle the unfolding crisis. The Owen Hart incident remains a heartbreaking reminder that behind every scripted storyline, professional wrestlers stake their well-being and sometimes their lives in the name of spectacle. Television can capture triumph, but it can also unmask our darkest tragedies. May these stories remind us that behind every broadcast, real lives and fragile hopes are always on the line. Thanks for watching.